Hello, everybody, and welcome to Success Never Sleeps. It is Friday, January 31st, 2 o'clock on the East Coast, which is where most of us are these days. So we're here with our group mentoring group. There's Jason and Monique. Hello, hello.
Hey.
So we're going to talk all things group mentoring today. Before we do, let's go through our sponsors. We'll get that done first. We have Tusa, Market Muscles, My Studio, Kids Love Life Skills, Elsie Accounting, and Kin Creative. All businesses we work with and believe in, and we're happy to partner with them for this program. All right, check them out online. We'll drop the links into the show descriptions after the show so you guys can check them out. Okay, awesome. Let's do some upcoming information that we have coming up. As we know, November 8th through the 11th, we have It's Time Live Freedom. This is going to be an amazing 4-day event. We've all been to a great handful of them now. We go every year. And now we're happy to be mentors within it and have some time to discuss with people that are there. Last one was amazing. Make sure you find it online at brandonbeliso.com. All right. Next, and as we're talking about today, it's time group mentoring. All right. There's us. We're ready to rock and roll. We have been doing this now for about a year, I believe. I think it's been a year now solid with our clients, and they're simply amazing. We've been able to watch them grow and develop, and and we do just as much watching, growing, and developing as we do it. So it's been pretty impressive and humbling and amazing to be a part of this process. So that's what we're going to talk about today. If you'd like to join the group mentoring, again, brandonbeliso.com. You'll see under events. You see the link for group mentoring. Okay. All right. Let's get into it. So a little history, a little backstory. How did we start the group mentoring? How did that all come about? Miss Monique, tell the tape.
Oh my goodness. You put me on the spot, Marco.
Sure I am. Right out of the gate.
I think it's important to know that we've all worked with Brandon one-on-one intensively, and it has taken our business, all of our schools to the next level. And from that kind of morphed the group mentoring. Brandon has offered mentoring in several different platforms, whether it was one-on-one or group mentoring. And this was kind of like a new project that he created last year about this time. And I think it started last year this time, but that November before we were actually in It's Time. And I remember a very late evening us having this conversation and brainstorming the group mentoring. So that's kind of how it started and where we are now.
Yeah. Jason, what about you? What is your thoughts and recollections on the start of all this?
Yeah, I mean, with kind of the same thing. We all started, with Brandon and did very extensive mentoring with him. Going from group mentoring to wisdom. Spending a couple of years. For me, it was researching him highly before I ever got involved with him in there with it, and then it come to a point to where all of us teaming up together to be able to provide the group mentoring now has been amazing, because now we get to see it from the other side and see school owners where we were, and we're still there, we're still working ourselves with that. So being able to see that progress, see that growth in them, see them move that needle to their version of success. So it's been amazing to see that.
Yeah, 100%. For me, being able to, just like in the martial arts, when I started martial arts and then I started teaching, it was about giving back. It was about giving back what I had learned and the advancements I had made and the positive parts of my life that it brought to me. So when it came, when Brandon asked us to do the group mentoring, it just seemed like a natural extension of that. He has done so much for all of us. And a lot of people, of course, watching the show in their own personal lives and their professional lives. So to be able to give back to other people, what he has been able to give to us felt natural, felt right. It was definitely the right thing to do. So, and yeah, we've gotten some great relationships with the clients that we work with. And like you said, be able to see them grow and develop and getting those aha moments. It's been impressive, and it's been humbling to watch and know that we are a small part of it, So we're also going to open up to questions during this. If anybody has any questions for us about the group mentoring, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll talk about this. So let's just say hello to a couple of friends. Hello, Bob Poole, Goals Martial Arts. Conrad's out there from Respect Martial Arts in Southern Cal. Good to see you. Good to see you on the show today. So definitely, as always, tell us who you are, where you're tuning in from, name of your school, any information. We're glad to share it and say hello to you. So, all right. So what have we been talking about? Like, what has been some of our subjects and topics that we go through on the group mentoring? What have we covered in this last year? It's been a year, so it's kind of a great time to reflect and see, what have we been doing? What have we been talking to people about? And so people kind of get an idea, because there's a lot of consultants out there. We know that. Just like any market, like any industry, there's a lot of people want to tell you what to do and how to do it. And I feel like for the most part, most of the consultants, and I'm not A, pointing out names, or B, talking about anybody specifically, but they kind of want to just say, all right, here's the cookie cutter. Here's what we know works. Just go do this. And that's it. Stock things, stock information. We know this works. Cookie cutter. Just go do this. This will work for you. We work in a very, very different way. Extremely different way. We keep it smaller groups and tighter, so we're not necessarily servicing 500 people, 1,000 people at the same time as we're getting this and growing. But we have to, part of our philosophy and our drive is to get to know everybody as people and business owners and what their specific needs are. A specific need for somebody in California is different than someone in Arizona, is different than somebody in Florida and Maine, all over the place. And whether we, obviously we branch out to the world in different countries, it's going to be needs of difference. We can't just service everybody the same way and say, this is what you do it, go do it, right? Populations are different, incomes are different. It doesn't work the same everywhere. An ad you run in Florida doesn't work necessarily in Boston. We're not as nice. I'll say it. I'm in Boston. We're a little bit edgier. We'll say edgy is a good word, right? The speak and the talk and how you talk to a soccer mom here can be different than somebody down in Chipley, Florida. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the unique thing that we've offered is that while we cover the same topic for everybody, we still have that individualized touch, a personal touch with everybody in there with it. So that way we can take and work with, our clients that are in Tennessee or in Canada and still cover the same topic, but make it uniquely specific to them in there with it. So I love that we started off the whole group mentoring with mindset, because I think that's a crucial thing to start out with. If you cannot change your mindset, or create that mindset for success, then you're going to struggle. It's going to be, trying to roll that huge rock up a hill. And also, I think that's a major thing that we started with that first experience that we touched on with everybody.
And we know that was one of our hardest, especially for me. That mindset is the hardest. That's why we start there. It's the hardest thing for people to change, right? Anybody, I don't care who you are, where you're from, how long you've been doing it, you get set in your ways, and I want to do it this way, and this is the way I learned it, this is the way I was taught to do it, and to butt up against that and have to have a different thought process and go, wow, this isn't the way my instructor did it, or my dad did it, or whoever it is. Like, that can be hard. That can be hard for people. And the fact that, like, even for me, when we changed to rotating curriculum, to look at my instructor and be like, yeah, we do it this way now. And just the ration and nonsense I got. Wow, we do this. We tried that. And say, okay, great. This is the way we're doing it now. That's hard for people. Really hard.
Yeah, I think it's also important to know for the group mentoring that it's a collaboration of the four of us. So you have the three of us is kind of the accountability, and we've done the exact work that we're going over each month, but you have access to us literally 24/7. I have been on text with some of our clients in the middle of the night, and we want that. We don't want you to do it by yourself. So we kind of, if you need someone to have, to prove something or give you ideas or brainstorm, or we want to be there. And then Brandon, of course, oversees the team and, jumps on when he can, where he can, and just make sure that, it's being led in the way that it was created to do. But I think it's so cool that there's the four of us that are in different locations do different styles of martial arts, but we do the same work. Brandon is also on the mat. He's not saying do this and it's not something that he does. He's actually still actively making sure the things that we go over are applicable, right now in the industry. And I think that's huge, that you don't have just like one person that you're talking to. You have 4 people. And we have had conversations where we do it 4 different ways. They're successful for our school. And then the clients can pick and choose which is their version of success. So I think that's one thing that stands us apart, that you have 4 school owners that are literally doing the same exact work and not saying, just do it this way. It's like, well, this is what's worked for me, and this is taking my business to the next level. If this is your version, here's, of success, this is how you can do it. So I think that's one really cool thing. The other thing is that even though I'm on the accountability team, I still learn stuff. So it's super cool. Every month, like I learn stuff from you guys. I learn stuff from our clients. We are still in contact with Brandon. So it's really cool that it's also keeping, the fire under our butts too with our school. So I think that that's another really cool dynamic with the group mentoring. But the collaboration, I think, is phenomenal between the group and what I've seen in the last year.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, that's most people hear group mentoring and I think we're doing that, but it's kind of our own take on a mastermind as well. We're all in there and we're learning from each other. Our clients, they'll take something that we've talked about and make it uniquely theirs, and we learn from them just as much as they learn from us at times. So it's a great way to collaborate with everybody and pass on that knowledge. And you're right, being accessible to our clients, any time of the day, night, weekends, holidays, whatever it is. I think that's a unique point for our group mentoring program, is that we're in their back pocket. We're there and available when they need us.
Yeah. And it gives us a little bit of insight as to what Brandon went through when we would text him at 2:00 in the morning, or, whenever we're having a struggle on something, and just like, I need to know now, what do I need? Is this poster okay?
Right.
Things like that. So it's definitely a humbling experience and an eye opener for sure. But as you said, it's well worth it, and it's amazing. It's really amazing. Yeah. So again, let's go back to what we were talking about. Like, what are some of the topics so people kind of understand what it is we do and kind of how it works? So
So each month we have a different experience, and it's themed a certain way. Although organically, sometimes it kind of goes wherever it needs to go and grow with the group. So I know, like this month, the focus has been class plan and curriculum, which is huge for all of our schools. I've learned stuff from it as we've been going. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I need to do this, or let me tweak this and make sure that I'm doing this well. So it, there is an overall experience and theme every month. But if someone is doing an event and they need help on setting up their booth, of course they can text us and ask about that, even though that's not the experience that month. And then the other thing is, then you have access to the resources forever. So that's the other cool thing about it. So I'm only, because we're doing class lesson plan and curriculum, I know that's one that's been a hot topic. And a lot of our clients that sign on with us, when we ask them kind of like what are their hot topics or what are their top 3 that they want to work on, almost 99.9% it's lesson plan curriculum. So this has been a great topic to revisit and go over again.
Yep. Yeah.
And I've learned a lot facilitating it. I mean, that's been an experience, a learning experience for me. So
yeah, this was Jason's month. Jason's month. And I love the fact that, we all do a lot of things similarly, but we also have our strengths that we bring to the group. So, we all have our months that we're like, all right, this will be the month I'll lead. So I'm heading into February with branding, voice and visuals of your brand, whether it's a straight up rebrand or just tweaking the brand you have and making it more cohesive and solid. There's so much to do. That'll end up, as I look through it, and I learned a lot too, as I look through it, I'm like, this is probably going to be a 2 months, like not in a row. A little break. Let Monique do hers, and then we'll kind of go to the second.
You can do 2 months. You can do 2 months.
I did say that. Yeah. So yeah, we'll figure that out as we go. But there's a lot in every subject. There's a lot. A month isn't what need to cover it. It's gonna definitely take more than a month for it. And same thing with class planning. It's not a month. It's a nonstop, never ending journey and thing that we do. I mean, we just revamped our curriculum as well. We tweaked it, I should say. We tweak it just about every year. We move things around, we dissect it, and then have to shoot new videos. You know what I mean? So it's a never ending thing. We always have, the clients always have us to look back to and say, hey, we're going to tweak it and do something with it. Or this part is stale. I learned a lot. Like, there's been so much this month about not just class planning, but like, creating drills and doing things to make the warm-ups better, to make the drills better, everything. So it's been a very informative month for me as well. And so as I said, I'm doing branding next month, which, if you were at It's Time Live, the last one, Purpose, I gave everybody like a branding document that I used at my school, and I looked at it and I figured this needs to be more. So I've spent the last few months creating a much larger version of that document, and it's really helped me assess and do things for my own business, and I'll be able to pass that on to other people. And I have a feeling I'm going to have some people needing me to do theirs. A couple people might be on this show right now.
Just saying.
So,
That's right.
It's pretty cool. It's a great experience, and I've loved going through it myself and, assessing for me, and just constantly taking stock of what you're doing and what and not just sitting back going, okay, I got this done. The brand looks great. Now let's just go teach the classes.
Yeah.
Going through and assessing my class plans and my warm-ups and, all that stuff has been incredible. It's been refreshing, and my team has absolutely loved it. They've loved it. Sometimes they don't. We try to make it comfortable for them to bring things to the table and say, hey, can we change this? But some of them there's always there's some people that just don't. They're not comfortable no matter what you do. So opening it up to them and saying, hey, yeah, we're going to do some stuff. What do you think? That has been a big plus for my team, being, hey, what do you think we could do? What making you do your job, make it easier for you? What can we do?
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things with all this is everything that we cover, every topic that we cover, it always comes back to the root of the system, the systemization of it.
Yep.
In there, and whether we're actually covering systems and what systems you need to write to the mindset that we start off with, that there's a system within that, to training your team, there's a system in that. I know that's one of the things that Monique is going to be talking about here in a couple of months is training your team. And, there's a system to that. There's a system to creating your rotating curriculum. There's a system in developing a class plan so that it's effective for everyone on your team, so that way you're not stuck teaching on the mat, all the time. You can actually do other parts of the business, and you can empower your team to do it better than you in there. And I think through all these experiences, looking at it from being on this side of it now, to me, I just got to go back to the whenever our clients message us, or they put a win in our group of what they're doing and different things like that. To me, that's amazing to see. In there is seeing their wins and where they're growing and how they're progressing and all of that. So to me, that's the most exciting side of it, is seeing them grow into it. And going back to what Brandon says all the time, to teach it is to learn it twice. So as we're teaching it, we're getting even better at it in our own businesses. So I think that's amazing to be able to see that with our clients.
Yeah, 100%. I'm excited for Monique's month. I'm definitely looking forward to that. I always, that was one thing I always felt like I needed more of. How do I train my team better? Like, what can I do to connect? My team and my wife will tell you, back in the day, I was very much an old school instructor. And if you messed up, oh boy, there was a hell to pay, and you knew it was good. You knew it. Having worked with Brandon and working with you guys, it's a very different day. And my team will say that, and one of the things they say was, well, when Amy came along, it was very much easier to deal with him. And then after 2018, when I started working with Brandon, it's a very different day. Back in the day, I was definitely an explosive person when it came to stuff and get frustrated with things. And a couple of weeks ago, we had a day camp and somebody ironed a hole through my plastic table that cost me $600. I'm like, things happen. I'll replace it. Don't worry about it. Back in the day, that place would have emptied out like cockroaches when the light came on, and people were scattered like, oh, we did a hole. That's it. It's doomsday. The clock is hit. Now I'm just like, don't worry about it. Kids having fun? Great. We'll replace the table. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. I bought a new mat for the iron so it doesn't happen again. Whatever. It's cool. We learned. Move on. So it's much easier these days.
Yeah, I'm excited about leading the experience. I think March, maybe, is that right?
March, yeah, you're March.
Yeah. And it's about team building, and I'm really passionate about this. This was like my hot topic when I first started working with Brandon. And anyone that knows my story knows why. But I was like, I need to make sure the team runs like a machine, and that's kind of how I came to him. And that was like our main thing that we worked on, and we did lots of work on how to build a team, how to maintain the team, how to retain the team. I mean, there was a lot of work and mindset and tears and on my part trying to figure out just the different than what I have known in my training. But that was like a game changer, but super important when I started working with Brandon. That was like the one thing that we did a lot of work on. I mean, a lot of amazing work, and I'm super grateful to have the team that I have. But having Brandon there kind of like next to me, kind of just trying to figure it out, and even working with he even worked with my team and did some training with my team. So I'm super passionate and excited about this because it is a game changer. The ultimate goal is that we replace ourselves, whether we want to or not, if needed, if something ever happened to us, good, bad, or indifferent, that our school would still run, and it's not just based on your shoulders. So that was huge. So I'm really passionate about, if you want to run a business, you have to have a solid team, and how can you do that? And it takes time. Like, it's not one of those things that can happen overnight. So even if it's not on your radar now, we all should be thinking about that, because, next year, 5 years, 10 years, that's going to be a thing. So that should, in our industry, that's really important. So I'm excited about, leading that discussion and that experience, because it's a huge component in running a successful martial arts business.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would have 10 years ago, even before that, even 2018, I never would have thought like, oh, I can go away this weekend and I don't have to close. You know what I mean? So this weekend, my wife and my son and I are going up to North Conway, and we're just gonna have a nice weekend together. And we got 4 trials coming in on Saturday. Like,
yeah,
I'm not even sweating it at all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just excited because half the time my team's better at signing people up than I am. Like, they're really good at it, maybe because they're younger and they're whatever. I come back like, oh, you signed them? Great. Awesome. You know?
I think the myth is that people think, ooh, it has to be a bad thing that I'm replacing myself. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't mean you're going to die or get sick. It could mean I want to go on vacation with my family. I want to go to my son's basketball team. I want to make sure I take my kids to school and pick them up from school or have dinner with them. So it doesn't have to be a bad thing. I think a lot of school owners kind of like, oh no, I don't want to talk about replacing me off the mat. I want to die on the mat. Okay, that's great. But let's still build your team in case you want to go on vacation.
Yeah, right.
So I think it's important that we think that way. And even if you're not doing it now, Brandon always talks about being a farmer and planting those seeds. You still need to start thinking about it. I think the other cool thing about the group mentoring is that you working smart is getting the information, and you can use the information whenever you want. I mean, I still have resources that I haven't done all that I should be doing with it. And I think each experience you get, I mean, we all know Brandon's a giver. Like, he really pulls back the curtain and says, hey, this is the template on this, or here's a resource on this. And then you have all of that to use at your disposal. And I think that that's really important too. Jason and I just jumped on an impromptu Zoom yesterday with a client, and was, kind of talking him through what we were working through. And we were like, hey, here's a template for this, and don't forget to log on and check out this video. So it's cool that he has all these resources. So when he's ready to work on that experience, he'll have all that material. And I think that's what also another benefit of the group.
I noticed I wasn't on that call. I wasn't.
It was like don't feel bad. It was like a super last minute.
I don't feel bad. I don't at all. I don't feel bad at all. I'm sorry I missed it, because I'm sure there was plenty of information that I could, glean from as well. But no, that's the one thing. Like, we all, I think, feel the same way. We love this team, and each other so much that it's like we don't all have each other's back. We're all working with each other constantly and talking with each other constantly. It's a wonderful team atmosphere that we have. And I think obviously Brandon being the main catalyst for that, it's incredible to be able to work and go, yeah, like I said, I do my bit and I have my specialties, but if I'm not there, it's not like, oh, don't talk to this person about that. That's my thing. Nope. It doesn't work that way. Talk to everybody, get bounced off everybody. We all have different brands and different things to work on. So you should talk, and speak to everybody. But we're also good at knowing that, like, all right, that's not necessarily my wheelhouse. You know what I mean? That's not my wheelhouse. Let's get you hooked up with.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't call me for anything IT related. I'll be like, call someone else on the team.
Market Muscles TV set up. Call me.
Yes.
Call Marco.
We all know our strengths. We all know our lanes. It's all love.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's definitely it's a nice feeling that we're never like stepping on each other's toes and things like that. It's a wonderful atmosphere that way, because that can happen very easily in groups.
Well,
you know what I mean? Because our industry, we know, is fraught with ego, fraught with ego, and I think we always talk about that's one of the hardest things to get through when people are looking to make changes. Like, get through that ego first. All right, we got through it. We chipped away at it. Jason, what were you going to say? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No. I was just going to say, I think we work so well together, and it just flows so nicely between us because we do all have that personal relationship with each other, and we started, and it was because we started with Brandon. And Brandon cultivated that relationship with us, and we built relationships between us that, whenever you need to reach out to somebody, you can reach out to any of us, and you may not necessarily get the same exact answer, but you're going to, they're so similar that it's not going to be, you've got to go wide left, wide right, and then somewhere in the middle, it's going to make sense. It's a very guided, very unison type mindset that we have, which is great, because it cuts down the time for there's still going to be failed attempts, but we're going to cut that down. We're going to chip away at that, so there's less of those, and also I think it's great that they can reach out to any of us at any time and be able to get a very unified answer.
Yeah. Because the unified answer is because, like you said, we're all dealing from the same purpose. We're all working on, the same ideals. We might have, like I said, we might have different ways of handling certain issues. Our warm-ups are different. Our brands are different. Our curriculum is different. Some of us use the complete Kids of Life skills. Some of us do not. Not looking at anybody in particular. So, but that's okay, right? That makes us unique in a way that it's not. Again, I go back to the fact that it's not cookie cutter. Right. You must do this. You must do this many ads. You must use Kids Love Life Skills. All of this. You must use this type of curriculum. It's just not that way, because it's no school in any part of the nation. Schools down the street are different. There's a jiu-jitsu school across the street from me. It's run differently, and they're not our competition. Right. So it's great that we can offer that to people in different views and different mentalities of ways to get around things. I said, we've done it. We talked about this. We learn. Jason says one thing, Monique says something else, and I learn from both. I think of it that way. I don't know. I didn't notice it that way. I don't think of it that way. Oh, great. Jason learned a lot about birthday parties recently.
That's right. Marco taught me a lot. Marco taught me a lot about them.
Marco loves a good party.
That's right. But, it allows us to dial in things that we're doing, because we're still learning and growing and, trying to reach that next level for ourselves and our business and our team. And I was thinking about this as Monique was talking about, building your team, and you guys know this, just this past week, I had emergency with my son, and, I didn't have to worry about setting the business up to run just because I wasn't going to be there. My team was ready. It took, and matter of fact, Ashton texts me. He goes, "Hey, we got everything. Don't worry about it." And I didn't hear nothing from the whole time until we come back home. And, the place didn't burn down. There was no emergencies. There was nothing that was dire that I had to come in and straighten out that, that wouldn't have been there if I was there, Right. So I think having those kind of things in place, allows us to be more successful personally, professionally, have our team, feel more successful and empowered that way. with it. And, that coming into working with us is crucial, because now you have a team that's working with you from this side of things as well, on all these different topics, whether it be, writing systems, building your curriculum, building or strengthening your brand, building a team, empowering your team, different things like that. And, we just love to see our clients take this information and they just run with it. And it's amazing to see them put in that work. And, just to me, it's amazing to see that we're that part of that process,
Mhm.
and see them grow in that. We've seen great things from our clients from the time they started with us to now. And I feel like we're just getting started.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, I think so too. So much of this we're learning as we go. This is the first time any of us has been in a mentor role to this level, with the business side of it. Obviously, as martial arts instructors, we're mentors on a daily basis with our students, but to go to the business side of it and being a mentor is a very different experience. And it's amazing. It's really amazing. You have to see everybody else's successes that you might have had a small hand in helping out. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. If anybody has any questions, obviously, about the mentoring program, just shout them out to us. Again, you can find more information at brandonbeliso.com. It's currently $4.99 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So is that right? That's what I just looked it up on the website.
Yep.
Oh, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally I wanted to double check before I shouted it out. I literally went through and tried to add myself as a client. If I started tomorrow, February 1st, it's at $4.99. So I think that's currently where we're at, is $4.99 a month. And it's monthly, just like any tuition plan or anything like that. You can cancel at the end of any month.
And to make sure that because we want to make sure we're the right fit and we really can help you. One of the things we're offering right now is to be able to jump on a discovery call with all four of us.
Yep.
Before you even sign up, you can jump on a discovery call with us. We'll find out more about your business, and then during that discovery call, we'll give you some actual tips, feedback, some real-time information that you can go implement immediately. Start working on as soon as you get off the call, to be able to impact your business and all. Because that's what we want to see. We want to see the industry grow. We want to see all of us do better.
Yep.
So we're offering that to jump on there with a complimentary discovery call right now.
Conrad has a good question. He asked do we have a plan for Facebook marketing? So my plan is you should be doing Facebook marketing. I do Facebook marketing, but I don't do it myself. So one of the things, there's a few tasks in any business. It's good to know about, but let the experts handle it. I don't do the plumbing in my facility. There'd be water spurting out all over the place if I did. You know what I mean? I call a plumber when it needs to be done. As far as Facebook marketing, I used to do it myself, and I have a tech background. And back in the day, it was a lot easier to do Facebook marketing. It has become a beast in of itself, and it's so complicated with the algorithms, and it continues to grow and change like almost daily. You know what I mean? Those guys are still over there at Meta, just messing with it and tweaking things. And so to keep up with that is a full-time job. So, I used to design websites. Like that was my thing back, before I opened my school. I was teaching nights and weekends, but I had a day job, and I used to work with the marketing department, which is where I learned a lot of my marketing stuff, and I did their website. So, when I first started, I did my website, and it's nothing like, my website now. We use a Market Muscle site. It's another company I outsource to because I know I don't have the time, the bandwidth, and the ability to keep up with the constant changes. I edit my website, put new content on there, new pictures, things like that. But letting Market Muscles deal with all the back end and the SEO and all that stuff is far better use of my money than my time of me trying to figure it out. So same thing with Facebook marketing. So we use Kin here. Jason, I believe you're using Kin as well.
Yeah, we use Kin as well. And I think the big thing with Facebook marketing is a lot of people think they should just jump straight on with a marketing company and just give them the reins. And this is going to kind of go back to what you're starting on in February, is that branding. You need to be very specific with your brand. You don't need to just give them the reins and let them run with it.
Yep.
Ken does very well about talking to you about your brand and incorporating that in there. I really love that about Ken, and they have that open communication with you with that. But the other side of that is don't just jump straight into Facebook marketing if you're not putting out your message on your Facebook page already. You need to be putting posts in there, and it needs to be congruent with what that marketing is going to look like in there as well. Because if they're seeing a Facebook ad and it's saying one thing, but then they go to your page and they're seeing all these different posts about, UFC fights, and that's not what you're about in your school, there's a complete disconnect between the ad and what you're presenting on your page on there. So I would make sure those two things are very in line with each other.
Yeah, and dot.
Right.
I was gonna say, before we even go there, let's make sure you have good class lesson plans. Let's make sure your team is solid. Let's make sure your school looks good, because you can do Facebook marketing, get all of these people in your school, and then your school sucks, your lesson plan sucks, your team sucks, whatever, everything sucks, and then it defeats the whole purpose. So that's part.
I need you laying it on the line.
I'm keeping it real. I mean, that's the point of the group. Like, you can't just, hey, I want to sign up with Facebook marketing, because if the background stuff isn't done, then it's not working smart. And I think that's really important to know. Like, it's not, Brandon says this all the time, it's not one thing, it's everything. So we have to make sure that you kind of take a step back and say, hey, is my business ready for Facebook marketing right now? No, let me pause on that, because I want to make sure my classes are tight and my team is amazing and my space looks good. And so there's all of these other things that's behind the scene. And I think that's really important too. And with the group mentoring, we do an assessment where we kind of look at everything. We want to make sure that, everything looks good before we take, the next step, or make sure that because it's not going to be beneficial to you or you, meaning the client, if they're doing it prematurely. So I think that's super important too, that, okay, everyone's doing Facebook marketing, I want to do that. And then you're like, okay, not yet. Let's get these things first. And then after we get these things, then we can look at the Facebook marketing. So I think that's a huge component too, and a big disconnect in our industry, because everyone wants to do what everyone else is doing, and we don't know what's happening behind the scenes.
Right.
So.
Yeah, very much. That's very true. Very true. Because, Brandon says it all the time. How do you put a bad restaurant out of business? Give it great marketing, right?
Yep.
So we want to make sure everything else is tight and right before we jump onto that. And it's just a smart way to spend your money, right? We don't want to just throw money at anything. We want to make sure you're spending it, the smart way, and also, I think it's a great.
And going back to what you said, Jason, like, Ken, will work with you. It's not, all right, give me the keys to your castle and we're just going to run with it. They need to know what you're about, what your why is. They don't use any stock photography or any stock videos. It's all, you have to do the work, and you have to be ready to do the work to get them B-rolls, to record your, one shots and things like that. You have to get all that stuff to them before they can run an ad. So you got to be ready. So your place has to look good. You have to be able to set up shots. You have to be able to set up time where you can shoot videos of your clients or whatever, and just put your best foot forward. And then they will rock the house and do everything that you need them to do and take a lot of it off your plate. But at the end of the day, you never can take everything off your plate and just let people run with it. You do have to maintain with them. So we maintain with Ken all the time. I just realized we weren't capturing everybody's waiver form. On the way in the door, I realized, when I'm here, it was being captured. But if I'm not here, like, I have 4 people coming in on Saturday, and I had to make sure the team knows that these people need waivers before they can step on the mats. And so I sent that to Ken. They're like, all right, great. We're going to put that into the outreach as we do the follow-up. When somebody books a class, we ask them for their T-shirt size, and here's the waiver form you need to fill out before you come in.
Yeah, I think the other cool thing about the group is that the team, the 4 of us, also meet on a regular basis to make sure that we're serving the clients best. Yep. So to Conrad's point about the question about Facebook marketing, we're always trying to figure out what's the best topic or experience each month. So it could be, like, that could be April's topic, Facebook marketing. Like, if that's how the clients need to be served, and we can do it in that way. Like we're often looking at, we look at the calendar and be like, oh, like 1 month we pivoted really hard on community events because we're like, nope, this is the time of year to do this. Let's build an experience around that. And that was our topic that month. So I think that's the other cool thing about us staying, the team staying connected and just being plugged in with what's happening in the industry and being able to pivot. If Facebook marketing is something, the best way to serve the clients, 100%, that would be the experience that next month, because we want to make sure that we are serving them in that way.
Yes. 100%. Absolutely. Monique's trying to get out of March. No. Good luck in the March. But yeah, and it's so wonderful to be able to work together and do these things. But I think you're right. And I think being able to shift and pivot based on the customer needs is unique as well. Because I think a lot of consultants, again, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but I think a lot of it can be very cookie cutter. We have a system. This is what it works. My old, a friend of mine who used to own a school and doesn't anymore, he hired consultants at one point, and it was super cookie cutter. You know what I mean? Like, this is what you do. This is what you need to do, and just do this. And if you don't do it, we're not going to take any accountability because you just didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like what they were wanting him to do didn't work in his area. It wasn't right. So I love that uniqueness. I wouldn't want to work it any other way. Yeah. That might be easier. Just all right. Here's this month, and this is what we're doing, and suck it up and pay us the money. It doesn't feel right. Just like a lot of things, it just didn't feel right. And we need to be able to pivot with the clients and serve their needs. So Conrad, I like Conrad's statement here. I wanted to show us systems in the student experience was the first leak I plugged at Respect. No doubt. I know you worked with Brandon for a while now. And yes. Yeah, absolutely right. It's the same thing. Systems, student experience is huge. It's the beginning of the year. Like for us, the beginning of the year is our refresh time. We love refreshing it because our curriculum starts back at Stripe 1. I know some people start that in September. We start Stripe 1 in January. Just have to work out that way. So it's kind of our refresh time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're doing the same thing, that student experience, that day one experience as well. And then the follow-up after that, and for those who will be in the program, and you'll see the branding document next month, that's part of it. Like, what is your student experience from the time they connect with you via an ad or, a social media post, getting in the door, the follow-up afterwards, the classes afterwards, a month afterwards, 6 months afterwards, what is their experience? And we have to think about that with every single person that walks in our door, not just let the system, the cogs just take over and just let them run, because it is building relationships. And if we don't build those relationships, they're just going to come in and go out, and you need to minimize that as much as possible, and like I said, using like Can and other companies doing things like that has allowed us to take all that other stuff off the plate so we can focus on this really important stuff. But like Conrad, our brand was solid. We had a real purpose, and again, I'll go over this during the mentoring month of, where we started from Peaceful Warriors, a brand that meant nothing to nobody, a name that meant something to me and me only. And I know there are other schools who use that name and they do well with it. For me, it meant nothing. It meant nothing to the parents in my area. It was an oxymoron. Nobody understood it. And I didn't. So until we rebranded and actually really sat down and did the work to decide what our purpose is and our values and all the other things that go with it, then we had a real story to tell. And it became so much easier to do everything from writing systems to, correcting class plans and marketing and social media. Everything just became so much easier to put forth and just made from, a certain point of view. And it was so consistent. And that's the thing we're going to talk about the most next month. You're going to get tired of the word consistency. You're just going to curse me every day about that word consistency, because that's going to come at you a lot next month. I was king of inconsistent. I know. I realized that. Like, I look back, I still have old photos. I have old social media stuff and, the artwork and things like that I did in an old drive somewhere. I took off my computer just so it wouldn't muck up my new computer, and it's just, but every once in a while I look back at it, I'm like, oh, that was so ugly. That was horrible. What was I thinking? And it's so much nicer and feels lighter to be able to do what we do now.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing we see it from what we've done is that growth that happened as we started working with Brandon and to the point we're at now, and all. And like we said earlier before, we're starting to see that growth in their clients that we're working with now, as well as they're hitting the stride of, they've got a different mindset. They're working on their class plans. They're working on their curriculum. They're writing their systems and all. And I think that's the big thing is, and I'll say it, my social media, my Facebook stuff 5 years ago was horrible. It was horrible. I didn't have no purpose behind it. I didn't know exactly what I was doing as far as with my pictures or the images or with the copy. And now that I've spent the time doing the real work of building my brand, understanding my purpose, I'm able to write through that, and that's shown in that.
Yep.
And also, so now that we can deliver that purpose and we understand it, we can do it in everything now, from the way we teach a class to the way we greet a student to the way we interact with our parents. I caught myself last night. I was talking to a parent, and instead of standing there up next to them or sitting on the bench next to them, I get down, in that Saison position underneath them and talking up to them. And on it, I didn't even think about it. It was just natural. It was just what we do in there with it. So it's everything from the way we talk to them to the way we dismiss class, the way we teach our curriculum, the way we greet them whenever they walk in the door, the way we, tell them goodbye whenever they leave. And developing those systems is crucial, and, I applaud Conrad for recognizing that, the systems and the student experience was one of the first things to attack, to make better, to improve.
And it goes back to what Monique was saying too. You can. That's the stuff that's the important work. That's the beginning work. Coming up with a fancy logo or things like that, that's not first at all. Your systems have to be right and tight. Your internal, your motivations, your goals, that has to be there, and you'll birth that brand from it. I mean, I know I did it back asswards the first time I did it. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, it's a brand, and here we go, and then maybe we'll figure out a purpose and some goals and some structure. That didn't happen. You know what I mean? So
right.
We stopped, took a breath, and said, okay, we need to refocus here. We need to redo it, and did it the right way. Did it in the right order. It allowed Focus Martial Arts to birth out of that. And, the name and the brand name and all that stuff didn't drive what we were doing. It was driven by our purpose and our core values and our, our brand loyalty stuff, that we are loyal to our brand in terms of the things that we do, our pillars, if you will. And I always advise too, join a group mentoring, join our group mentoring, get a mentor, continue to look at people in the industry. Don't look down, look up. That's something my dad always taught me. Don't look down at people, look up. Look, oh, that's great. And not in an envious, I want to have the green Lamborghini way. Just like, all right, they're doing the right work, and I like what they're doing, and what they do resonates with me. That's why when I started working with Brandon, it wasn't just, oh, he's got 2 schools and they make $1 million each a year. Isn't that cool? I want that. It was more about his values. And before I knew any of that stuff, I heard him on Facebook and things like that, and just said, okay, his values definitely align. I like the way he talks. I like what he's talking about, and doing it my way, but doing it the right way. That's right for me. You gotta move through that period, and that worked for me. So, find a mentor, find a group, study other companies, not just in the martial arts industry. I'm a huge, like Brandon, I'm huge, even before I met him, huge Disney person. I love their company. It's had good times. It's had bad times. They've done a lot of right things. They've done some not so right things. We can all admit that. We know that no company is perfect, but to look at their core values, I've listened to so many books on Audible, because I generally don't have time to sit and read a book. So I just drive a lot, and I listen to my Audible books. I'm listening to one now about creating Disney magic, and it's incredible. Like, it goes through the whole bit, and I haven't, driving, like, I got to make a note on this. I got to make a note on this. I'll just do voice memos to my car, you know what I mean, to write things down. Like, it's pretty impressive to hear the values. We're not Disney. I know that, but it doesn't mean we can't create a Disney-like experience and have a lot of the core values that they work from, and it's worked. My team loves it. When I just added a sign to the instructor closet, the instructor room where they get changed, about our 4 sort of pillars. Like, what are our core and how do we raise it? We talked about this the other day, right? Safety is number 1. Everything we do stems from, like, we need to be safe. We need to be safe. The the students have to be safe, the families have to be safe. After that, after safety, you have things like courtesy. So an interaction with a student or a parent or whatever, courtesy has to be there. We're smiling, we're saying hello when they walk in the door, things like that. But safety never gets suffered for the courtesy. Safety still has to be number one, right? Then there's the show, the class time, right? And starting a class on time is part of our pillar, but not at the expense of safety or courtesy, right? And then down the bottom is your time, right? The efficiency, things like that. We wanted to be efficient. We wanted things to move quickly. We wanted to move fast. But just because we wanted to move fast, we can't suffer safety, right? So as you try to move too fast, things aren't safe. We don't want to be moving so fast that we forget courtesy, and we don't forget what we're there for, which is to teach and give a good, experience on the mat. And I went over that at the last leadership class, and like you just see light bulbs going off under people, over people's heads. And it was cool to watch. Like, oh, that makes it. I learned that from the last Disney book I was reading. Like I always kind of had something like that in the back of my mind, but I needed something to give me that boost and that kick in the pants. Go, this is what we're talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I meant. Good way to put that. So team loved it.
Awesome.
So definitely do the research and always be researching. Always be trying to better, if anything. And Beth had a great comment I want to read. You guys are very inspirational from me. Marty must have me and Beth, and pushed us in the right direction. Wonderful family. Love them to pieces.
Yeah.
You're awesome. They're a trip to work with. We know, right? Working with a couple is, believe me, I know, because Brandon had to work with me and Amy together at the same time. So I understand. Sometimes our spouses are involved more and sometimes they're not. Even though Amy has her own job. Believe me, when we were going through the inspirations and going out this time, Amy's right there next to me. Her name is half on the association, on the LLC. She's right there. She will not be left out. So he had to deal with us both at all times. Even though I was the one who had to be in here doing the work, right there. And do not call her Marco's wife. Third person in Las Vegas made that mistake a few times and was crawled up and over.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I love the clients that we are working with, and we've gotten to know them really well and how they work. I think that's another point to add, that everyone kind of works differently. The clients all kind of work differently. Some of them are on text, some of them are on phone calls, some of them need to jump on a Zoom, and that's fine. There's 4 of us, so we kind of split the work however we need to split the work. I think that's important. And speaking of Beth and Marty, they're awesome. But they have everyone has different personalities. And I think that's important, but I think the coolest thing about the group is we get to see their success. I believe success is contagious. So it's really cool to kind of see them doing their thing and other clients just kind of take their businesses to the next level. It's really nice to see. And mentoring, I mean, everyone knows how important it is to have a mentor. And, I'm grateful that Brandon is my mentor and has helped move the needle in our business. But I think, that it's another disconnect in the industry, that we can do it by ourselves. And that's just not working smart. The most professional athlete still has a coach, still has a mentor. I don't know why we feel like we don't need one or don't need someone to kind of guide us through taking our businesses to the next level. It definitely was a huge change in my business and how my business runs now after working with Brandon. And I think it's really cool to see the clients just kind of grow and evolve into their version of success, not what we say, do it like this. It's their version of success. And Beth and Marty are an example of that. So hi, Beth and Marty.
And fun to watch how they all work differently.
Yeah.
Right. We have certain clients who need, you give them some information. If they need it in a moment, they have to step back and they have to kind of mull it over and find their way and just think. And that's their way. That's what makes them successful. And then you have people like Beth and Marty. Before you finish the sentence, they're off. Beth is laminating something and Marty's already changing classes. You know what I mean? It's just different. It's just different, and it's wonderful to watch.
Yeah, but whenever we jump on them calls with them, because I think one of the important things that I don't know if we've mentioned it or not, we've talked about so much, is that not only are we just a call or a text or a Facebook message away, however they want to reach out to us, but every single week we're jumping on a call with them, and discussing how things have gone that week and where they're at and what the progress is and where they need help. and really, even though it's a group call, we still work with them individually on what they need and how to move that needle, move that next inch in their business, so I think that's important to mention with our group mentoring, is that we're not only working with you. If you need to talk to us every single day that week, then we're there. But on Friday, we're going to jump on that group call and we're going to go over everything and make sure everything's tight and right for you, so you can keep moving forward.
Absolutely. So we're just about up at the hour. We got about 2 minutes left. I just want to open up. If anybody has any other further questions, any last minute questions about the group mentoring, let us know while we're waiting for that. Everything you can find at brandonbeliso.com. We know that. We know we have It's Time Live Freedom coming up in November. I'm really looking forward to see, obviously, Monique and Jason out there as always, my family as we consider. But new people, old faces, everybody, hopefully Marty can come out this time, and with Beth, that would be great. And just see all the new folks that we'd like to get out there as well. I think we're pretty, it's such a great experience. I mean, like I said, I've been doing this since 2018, and the amount of, connections and people that I still talk to in the Seidel's down in Texas, and, everybody we still talk to, on a weekly and daily basis is incredible, from all over the country and all over the world. Ralph, I talk to Ralph Odie pretty often, you know what I mean? So it's nice. It's nice to have these connections. And just like you said, Monique, we're not here doing it alone. It's nice to have all these. So It's Time Group Mentoring. You can find that again. I believe it's $4.99 a month. It's a monthly subscription. You can pause or stop at the end of any month if you'd like to, if you need to. And it's very tailored to what you need. We have our ideas of what we want to do next month, or, for the year and things like that. We're always planning it out, but we're also always pivoting as well. We need to match the client's needs and not just say, hey, this is our lesson, take it. But it just doesn't work that way. Make sure you find us online at Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, YouTube videos. There's a ton of YouTube videos under Brandon's account. Make sure you check that out as well. Not just old episodes of Success Never Sleeps, but a lot of his other stuff are on there as well. Make sure you go to the Facebook pages. Go to the Disruptors, Success Never Sleep page. If you do join the group mentoring page, we have a separate private group page just for that, where we talk a lot. And we bounce things off each other, as well as a Slack channel where we talk to each other all the time. So that's it for me. Jason, Monique, you want to finish off anything? Any last minute comments or anything?
Yeah, I just want to say, for anybody, if you're interested in seeing what the group mentoring is about, don't hesitate to send us a message. We'll send you a link and schedule that complimentary discovery call, and see how we can work together and help you to get to that next level of success. So I really hope to see several people on those discovery calls and see that change happen.
Yeah, definitely. Are we the right fit for you? Get on a discovery call and we can find out.
Yeah.
No, I don't have anything. I'm excited. You guys kind of covered all of it. Of course, you can reach out to each one of us individually if you would like more information about the group or the experience up till now. We'd love to chat with you about it. And of course, the discovery call with the entire team, you can chat with the four of us and make sure it's a good fit. So, yeah.
I'm just kidding you, Monique. I wouldn't leave you sitting there hanging. Awesome. All right, gang. Thank you so much. Let's just quickly go over our sponsors again. Just as we're heading out here, Tusa, Market Muscles, My Studio, Kids Love Life Skills, LC Accounting, and of course, the new kids on the block, Getting Creative. We love those guys. I know Brandon's up there now in Toronto with them, I believe, doing their first sort of, client seminars and things like that. So I'm excited when he gets back to hear all about it and how it went. I'm sorry I wasn't able to make it on this one. I will definitely, my wife and I talked about it last night. We'd love to go to one. Maybe in the summertime, guys.
Oh, yeah, it's cold. It's cold there.
January in Toronto, for the love of Pete. How about a June meeting? So May, June, we'll be there. So, yeah, awesome. All right, for Monique and Jason, I want to say thank you guys. That was amazing. Really had fun today. This is Success Never Sleeps. Find our old episodes. Check us out. Brandon will be back next week. I can't wait to find out what the topic's going to be. It's going to be awesome. So, gang, what are we going to go and do? What do we want them to do? What do we want?
Live their best lives.
Live your best life.
Live your best life, everybody.